Retro.
Are you an aspiring Jedi, or do you dabble with the dark side of the Force?
Regardless of whether you fancy yourself a defender of the light or an aspiring Sith Lord, you're going to need a lightsaber.
Podcast Stardust is pleased to partner with Saber Masters, the creators of high-quality, durable, and affordable lightsabers.
Saber Masters is preparing to launch the Ultimate Lightsaber 2.0, and right now you can get 2 for the price of 1.
So, check out the link in our show notes and go get your Ultimate Lightsabers from Saber Masters.
And don't forget to use our referral code Stardust to save $10 at checkout.
And each purchase using our referral code helps support Podcast Stardust.
What's up, guys? This is Daniel Logan, Boba Fett from Attack of the Clones, The Clone Wars, Book of Boba, Skywalker Saga game, and hopefully many more things in the Star Wars galaxy. You are listening to Jay and Dennis on Podcast Stardust. Yep, this is the way I've spoken.
Welcome back to Podcast Stardust. This is the fully armed and operational podcast dedicated to Star Wars news, reviews, and discussion. I'm Dennis Keithley.
And I'm Jay Krebs.
And it's time for our weekly look at Star Wars news. But before we dive into the latest, Jay, where can everybody find us around the internet?
Well, you can dive into the internet on Facebook, Instagram, and X, conveniently at Podcast Stardust.
Okay, the dish is aligned, the signal is boosted to maximum output, the shield is down, and we're now broadcasting to the galaxy. So a lot of the industry rags, such as the Hollywood Reporter, are reporting a rumor that Sigourney Weaver is in talks to join the cast of The Mandalorian and Grogu. She's probably most famous for her role in the Alien/Aliens franchise. What do you think, Jay?
Well, this is a surprise, but a welcome one to be sure. So, of course, Sigourney Weaver is just legendary, and she's been in so many different things. But of course, Aliens is one of the top franchises I know that everyone thinks of when they think of sci-fi and Sigourney Weaver. But of course, we have Ghostbusters and, and. So, Avatar is another one she's really famous for. I think this is an amazing addition. I have no idea what I think she might play in this, but I mean, I think it's a really awesome thing that, if this does happen, to be able to join. So yeah, I'm on board. What do you think?
I like it. I think Sigourney is fantastic. She's proven her action chops over and over again with, of course, some of those movies you just mentioned. One of the things I think I've seen in her in or that I've watched most recently, it's not that recent, was Marvel's Defenders. It was one of the Netflix shows from the Daredevil group of shows, and she played a villain there, which got me thinking she would be fantastic as some sort of an Imperial if they wanted to go that route. I think she would make a really cool Sith. She could be, in the mold of someone who's conniving if they wanted to do that. But I don't think that's probably appropriate for this time period. But hey, another Mandalorian, put her in the armor. Let's see her do it. I think she could be fantastic. I think she's got the voice for it. I was just thinking of the way that she delivers dialogue, and she could do a lot of those armorer type lines out there. So the possibilities are wide open for her in Star Wars.
No, I totally agree. Yep. I'm excited.
All right. Well, moving on, we're on Disney Plus. They are preparing for the season premiere of The Acolyte coming up here at the beginning of June. And they're starting to do the things where we're getting little clips of episodes and then they put them on social media as tease for this. So we got one, for the most part, it featured stuff that we've seen before. This is the fight versus between May and Indira. And the thing is, the thing that stood out to me is when Indira is talking to May and says, who trained you? So I think that kind of places this. We now know that Master Soul at one point says later, I trained her. Let me be the one that brings her in. So I feel like this kind of helps establish things for you. But anything else stand out to you from that clip?
Well, again, a lot of this is what I got to see, and all of us that went to the Phantom Menace, if they stayed for the Acolyte feature at the end, there were some of these that were playing out in that as well. But I'm just so incredibly enamored with the action in this and the
Hmm.
hand-to-hand combat, and I just think that it's the camera angles, the speed at which it was shot, everything is just so good, and so it just makes me even that much more excited for the release of The Acolyte on June 4th.
Yeah, me as well. I'm going to be away when this comes out, so I'm going to be a few weeks behind by the time I get back, and so but I'm looking forward to binging it here. And I'm not getting tired of that clip of May versus Indira in there for the various aspects. There's kind of that kung fu where it's a game of chess. As someone throws a blow, the other one blocks it and redirects things, and they go through that a lot. And then we get the throwing knives and Indira pulling out her saber. Lots of great Star Wars action, great Star Wars aesthetics that's going on there. I like the way that they designed May's character in this. So I'm really looking forward to it. There is nothing that I've seen of this that is discouraging me whatsoever,
Mhm.
which is
No,
good to
I'm
know.
with you. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right. I hesitate to get into this next story because I anticipated listening to all this and just never got around to it. But the Tales of the Empire soundtrack has been released on all the major music services. Of course, this was written by Kevin Kiner, and we got 30 tracks across the 6 episodes that they put out there. Have you had a chance to listen to this yet, Jay?
No, I haven't, but it's, saved to my library on Spotify,
Mm-hmm.
and so I was going through the tracks, and I like you, I just haven't had an opportunity to actually listen to this, but, of course, one that sticks out to me is called Lynn Attacks. Wonder why. Little fourth sister there.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean,
she did
all
that a
of
few
the
times.
she did. But all of the track names, you can probably guess what is going on. If you've obviously seen Tales of the Empire, then things
Hmm.
like Morgan Leaves and Help Will Come, Barris Released, One Final Test, Welcome Sister is another one, which I think is really cool. And then Inside the Cave, The Way Out, all of those really speak to where we were within the episodes, and I'm so excited to listen to it because that was one thing I did notice as I was watching Tales of the Empire is that the music is just awesome. I mean, Kevin Kiner always is just majestic with everything that he writes for Star Wars, so I'm so looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. It's kind of the Star Wars tradition of really naming the tracks according to what they're taught, what part of the
Right.
movie it comes in there. And so like you said, you could almost read this as the table of contents for Tales of the Empire itself.
Mhm.
Uh, and it's like an outline for that whole series. So yeah, that was very well put, Jay. But so yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I mean, most of the tracks aren't very long. There's a lot of them that are under 2 minutes, some that are about three. And so, yeah, this is going to be on my list to listen to. But life
Yeah,
was a little bit more hectic this week than I was anticipating. So I just didn't get a
I feel
chance
that.
to dive into that.
Yeah.
But you're right. Kevin Kiner wrote a great score. It did stand out to me while we were watching the show. Again, when George Lucas described John Williams as the secret sauce of Star Wars, Kiner has been the secret sauce of the Clone Wars, Rebels, Bad Batch, and now Tales of the Jedi and Tales of the Empire.
Mhm.
Wrote some really, the oxygen is, I guess, how David Collins liked to think of the Star Wars music when he talks about it. And Kiner is a very worthy successor to Williams with the work he's done.
Oh, absolutely. And it's a family affair now as well, because if you look on Spotify, it's listed Kevin, Sean, and Deanna Kiner
Yeah.
all together. So that's his son and his daughter. And they actually do have an Instagram that's just at Kiner Music. So all three of them are part of that. So that's pretty cool that they're all able to work together and that the two kids are able to follow in dad's footsteps, and maybe they'll end up taking over at some point with Star Wars, because as we know, the baton just keeps getting passed. We love that.
Indeed. Indeed, it does. Okay, so this next one is not specifically about Star Wars, but it was just announced that Disney Plus, Hulu are going to be entering into a bundle with Max of all services. This will be launching this summer. There will be both an ad-free and an ad-supported option for whichever you prefer, and based on the price point you're willing to support. We don't know what those prices are going to be yet, but we had both comments in the press release from Disney and Max. Joe Early, the president of direct to consumer for Disney Entertainment, said, on the heels of the very successful launch of Hulu on Disney Plus, this new bundle with Max will offer subscribers even more choice and value. This incredible new partnership puts subscribers first, giving them access to blockbuster films, originals, and 3 massive libraries featuring the very best brands in entertainment and streaming today. And then JB Perrette, who is the CEO and president of global streaming and games for Warner Brothers Discovery, said this new offering delivers for customers the greatest collection of entertainment for the best value in streaming, and it will help drive incremental subscribers and much stronger retention. Offering this unprecedented entertainment value for fans across all the complementary genres these 3 services offer presents a powerful new roadmap for the future of the industry. Okay, I know we don't have the price point. Putting that aside, are you interested in this bundle?
Well, I mean, I'm always interested in bundling, I mean,
Mhm.
that just helps to save money, but I actually just recently went with through Verizon. There's this thing called Plus Play. And
Mhm.
so if you go through your Verizon carrier, and this isn't home Verizon, this is actually through the cell phone, and you can bundle different things together. And so I'm wondering how this is going to affect that, because I was able to get Max by itself through that bundling, through the Plus Play through Verizon, and then a couple other things too, like Stars. So it's just wow. I mean, Disney is like the hungry, hungry hippo of streaming services. It just keeps gobbling things up. But
Mhm.
I mean, if it gets to be more convenient and it's actually cheaper for the consumer, I'm totally for it. What about you?
Yeah. I mean, I have Disney Plus. I have Hulu Plus. I don't have the like live television version of Hulu, and I have Max already. But my Disney Plus and Hulu are bundled with ESPN Plus.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm wondering, can I get Max into that bundle, or how does that work? And
Mm-hmm.
on the one hand, I appreciate. I didn't check to see here if what we're going to be able to do is like have that Max tile on Disney Plus, so they can just go into Disney Plus and also watch the Max content the way we can now with Hulu, which is incredibly convenient. And I would love it if they did that, because it's one last thing to have to like swap out of. So that'd be great. That'd be a wonderful benefit if they could do it. I do like the idea of making these available in a bundle, but you can still get them individually if you just aren't interested in the Max content. And I have to admit, there's
Mm-hmm.
not that much stuff that I'm currently watching on Max. Beth watches it more than I do.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I mean, I'm going to have them both anyway. Now I just have to figure out which is better for me, doing the bundle with Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus, or kicking out ESPN Plus, getting my own subscription to that, and getting Max into that bundle. But we won't know
Yeah.
until this summer. It's it's kind of dizzying though, isn't it? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we all cut the cord. We, the royal we. I mean, I know not everybody's done this. Up until recently, I had DirecTV as well. To, in some senses, like save money and get these streaming services and get away from that format. But they're all starting to consolidate again in
Yeah.
these type of bundling. I mean, that quote here, offering this unprecedented entertainment value for fans across all the complementary genres these 3 services offer presents a powerful new roadmap for the future of the industry. I think that's very prophetic. I mean,
Yeah, it
I think
is.
at some point we're probably just going to have you're going to pick a streaming like home platform, and then you're going to add the services right directly into it. Is
Mhm.
what it seems like we're going to be doing through this, and so I mean, I guess I'm not against that. It gives you a lot more freedom in picking and choosing which ones you want. But it's just kind of like, guys, couldn't we just skip to that step to begin with? I mean, it feels like we're coming full circle.
Mhm. Well, and for me too, as I'm listening to you talk about this and the whole bundling idea, one of the things that I've always really liked being able to do is to start and stop services
Hmm.
kind of as I needed to. I would add, like when Max was HBO Max, we were watching things like House of the Dragon, or for Stars, I would be able to add that and then watch Outlander. And then when Outlander was over, then I would just go ahead and get rid of Stars. And so I'm kind of afraid that once these bundles appear, that it's going to be an all or nothing thing. And is it truly going to end up saving money then in the end if you can't start and stop as you wish? Because that was one of the things I couldn't stand about DirecTV, was that the
Mhm.
fact that if you decided to get stars, you were stuck with it for an extended period of time, whether you wanted it or not. And it was such a pain in the butt to try to cancel. And, it's one thing through Amazon, for example, you can add these other channels and then you can end them or start them, end them and start them. So the convenience of that is really nice, to be able to a la carte your streaming services. So I don't know. I mean, I guess now that I'm thinking about it a little bit more, I mean, the initial attractiveness of a bundle is cool, but is it really what I would want? That's a question I would need to answer.
Yeah, and again, they're not consolidating to one entity yet, and I don't know that they could actually do that if they wanted. That'd be like a huge antitrust challenge
Right.
when
Oh
you
yeah.
know, you know, Warner Brothers Discovery and uh, and then Disney like suddenly merged their thing. That would have like all kinds of anti-competitive effects compared to the other streaming services, and I suspect that would face severe challenges, which is why they're offering it as a bundle. And so I do like the fact that if you're not interested in Max, then just don't put that in your bundle. You'll save money over just having Disney Plus or Hulu. I mean, you may not be interested in the shows on Hulu, then just get Disney Plus. You can do it however you want.
Hmm.
Just thinking this out to some of the extremes though, and let's think about Star Wars for a second. Well, if we start getting these consolidation into these bundles and things like that, do we risk a situation where what's happened with like Marvel and its history ends up happening to Star Wars, where like the Star Wars content gets like parceled out across multiple services to make it more attractive for you to pick up the bundle?
Mm-hmm.
And that's not what happened with
Yeah.
Marvel. I mean, Marvel, was in a situation where before the studio or Marvel was acquired by Disney, they had sold off the rights to characters from movies and things like that to different studios. Fox had the Fantastic Four and X-Men. Sony's had Spider-Man, and the Avengers were retained by Marvel, and then Disney got to make Avengers movies when they bought Marvel. So that's great. So we're not talking an apples to apples comparison, but I am just kind of concerned that suddenly becomes in their best interests to spread this content across various platforms,
Yeah.
which kind of forces the consumer's hand.
Mm-hmm. Well, those are all good points and a lot to think about. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, we'll see. Something to keep an eye on. I don't know. We'll have to see when we get more details about this, whether it's worth it to pick up this bundle or not. So, I mean, I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
have all the services anyway, so it's just a matter of which way comes out cheaper for me.
Right. Exactly. I'm with you.
Okay, so one last story in this short news week. We got another update on Star Wars Celebration 2025 and Japan ticket sales. And that is in addition to the Jedi Master and 3-day adult tickets having sold out, you can now add Saturday single day adult tickets to that list. They have sold out as well. So if you're wanting to catch any part of Celebration, then you should probably head over there and get those Friday and Sunday tickets, and be prepared to buy the Saturday tickets on the secondary market whenever what do they call it? Light, I think
Mm-hmm.
it is,
Yep.
puts them on when they, that platform goes up there, and you may end up paying a little extra for them, but you'll probably be able to get them at some point.
Right. Right. Yeah. I've used the Light Pro platform in the past, and there's definitely pros and cons to it. That's for sure.
Mhm.
But yeah, if somebody's wanting to secure a ticket for Saturday, that may be about the only way that that'll happen at this point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the advantage of like not having a Saturday ticket is that you're going to be in Japan, so you can
Right.
go out and do
Mhm.
some other things. And
Exactly.
yeah, I'd hate to go all the way to Japan just to spend 3 days in the convention center. So
Me too. I do hope that they will consider doing the live stream again. I mean, I know that they've had the YouTube streams
mhm.
before, but there was just something always just so great about being able to see the panels and stuff, and I miss that.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know why they haven't done that, and I can only hope that with a couple movies on the horizon, that they will include the rest of us at home that are on the other side of the planet. They eh, they may decide not to do it just because there is like what, that 14-hour time difference between the two places. So everything
Mhm.
that's happening in Japan would be while we're sleeping. So,
That's a good point.
how many people are going to stay up to watch it anyway, as
True.
opposed to catching the news and clips from it the next day? But I'm with you. I mean, I missed it while, in London. Even though we were in Anaheim, they weren't even streaming those panels to the floor
Right.
that time. And I just think back to Chicago when you and I stood near the live stage and watched the Rise of Skywalker panel and got to
Oh,
see
yeah.
the trailer for that movie together and with how many thousands of other people, and
Mhm.
just the energy that was there in that room and that collective community experience of doing that together. And I hope they'll do it. And even if they don't stream it to us at home, make it available to everyone that's in Celebration, whether they're in that arena or not.
Oh, yeah, because, I mean, to fly to Japan, especially for those in the States, and pretty much anywhere around the world, unless you're in Japan, that's
Mhm.
huge. That's a big travel, time and expense and everything else. So, why not make it so that it's available to those that spent that money? Make it worth
Indeed.
their investment. Mhm.
Okay. All right, then. Well, that's what we have for you in this week's edition of news here on Podcast Stardust. We hope you've enjoyed it. And if you did, please consider subscribing to Podcast Stars on your podcatcher choice. We also would like to remind you can find our entire back catalog of shows over on retrozap.com, which is home to the entire network's worth of shows, covering everything from the MCU and DC to Dune, Star Trek, animation, and a whole lot more. As always, we greatly appreciate your 5-star ratings and reviews on whatever podcatcher it is that you use for your podcast, especially if that's Apple Podcasts. And it means a lot to us when you share the show and your favorite episodes on social media with your friends. So with those things in mind, Jay, you want to remind everybody what our social media contacts are one more time?
My pleasure, as always, Dennis. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and X at Podcast Stardust. And we do have a Pinterest page with lots of fun boards and ideas over there. And we have two different YouTube outlets. So we have the traditional YouTube channel as well as our YouTube music channel. So head over to both of those, like, subscribe, and make sure you share those out as well. And if you'd like to connect with us in real time, we have a Discord room on the RetroZap Discord server. So if you'd like to do that, just hit up the link in our show notes and boom, you are there. And we also have a link to our TeePublic store, and we are also just teepublic.com/user/podcast stardust. And we have 7 different show logo designs available on all kinds of different products, from home goods and apparel and everything in between. And if you are in need of a lightsaber, you can head over to Saber Masters, where you can pick up the Ultimate Lightsaber 2.0, as well as a bunch of different other types of lightsaber models as well. And so you'll have to check those out. They are battle ready sabers, and you will not be disappointed. So if you do happen to pick something up, just hit the code Stardust at the checkout and type that in. Not really hit it, you just have to type it in. And that will save you an extra $10, and it also helps to support the show. So with that, Dennis, why don't you update everybody on what you have going on in your other podcasting world?
Okay, so my wife and I are into Star Trek, and we are talking about it on Warp Trails, which is exclusive to the RetroZap podcast feed. You can find the show over on retrozap.com and your podcatcher of choice. Again, just look for RetroZap, and you'll find all the shows amongst all the other great episodes of shows coming out from the different RetroZap podcasts. We are trying to get caught up on our coverage of season 5 of Discovery. We kind of had to miss this last episode, but we're going to combine the coverage with the next episode and catch up, and then take it from there. And then once Discovery ends, we'll be looking forward to Star Trek Lower Decks later this year. So Jay, what do you got going on with cosplay?
All right. Well, you can always catch me on my Instagram, which is at j.snipscosplay. And if you want to catch me in person, you can head over to the Medina County Fairgrounds in Medina, Ohio, where I will be appearing on June 1st. Not sure exactly what I'm going to be yet, but I'm thinking it's probably going to be Hera, because Hera herself, Vanessa Marshall, will also be in the house. So if you want more details on that, that is the toy and comic collectible show in Medina. And you can check out my stories, or you can hit me up with a DM and I can give you all the deets.
All right. Upcoming on the show on Monday, we are getting to Tales of the Empire, focusing on the episodes featuring on Bear Sophie. And then on Wednesday, we are putting a wrap on season 3 of The Bad Batch with a bit of a retrospective and some special guests. So make sure you come back and check that out. So thanks for listening to episode 730 of Podcast Stardust, everyone. Have a great weekend. And until next time, may the Force be with you.